I watched pretty much every single one of Caitlyn's games early on because I am a fan. I do like good basketball. And of course, I wanted to see how she would do.
We're diving straight into a storm brewing within the WNBA, a story that sparked reactions from fans, players, and analysts alike. Sue Bird, one of the league's most respected voices, has laid bare a serious issue that has hit the WNBA right where it hurts: its credibility and leadership under Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. But what caused this wave of discontent? At the center stands Caitlin Clark, the rising superstar whose record-breaking season was met with controversy because of how the league has treated her. And it seems it comes all the way from the top.
I just don't. And it actually, we talked about this before, like the fan that went hard at Caitlin at the Connecticut Sun game in game 1 or 2, I can't remember, where there was an interaction where the fan almost got ejected. It's like, none of this is okay. And we never accept it. We never accept this on the men's side. Why is it okay in our league? Why is it, welcome to mainstream sports?
We'll explore how Bird's revelations and the WNBA's leadership decisions have exposed the cracks in its foundation. Why was Clark, who boosted viewership and attendance, treated in a way that left fans fuming? And how does Commissioner Engelbert play into this? Get ready, because we're about to break down what this means for the future of the league. Before we break it down, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Are you ready? Let's go.
We do sit at this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music. Like, the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
True.
And when you have that, you have a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It is a little that Bird magic moment, if you recall, from 1979 when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry.
Commissioner Cathy Engelbert's recent public statements have turned heads and sparked fierce debates among WNBA fans and analysts. Her appearance on CNBC's Power Lunch ignited backlash when she emphasized, "You need rivalry," as a key to boosting the sport's visibility. This statement, intended to underline the importance of competition in sports, seemed tone-deaf against the backdrop of the vitriol players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have faced. It becomes even more striking when Cathy Engelbert mentioned this specifically.
One white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. It's a balance, but certainly from a marketing dollars, but corporate partners are stepping up to endorse these players much more so than they were 5 years ago.
The issue wasn't just the statement itself, but the deeper implications. Critics, including soccer legend Megan Rapinoe, pointed out that Engelbert's focus on rivalries over player safety and well-being was a glaring misstep. Rapinoe called out the commissioner on her podcast with Sue Bird, arguing that Engelbert failed to protect players from the toxic and racist rhetoric swirling online and in stadiums. This criticism resonated with many who felt that leadership was more concerned with marketing narratives than defending its athletes.
We knew it was coming. This wasn't a surprise. And not just the comments that the commissioner made a few weeks ago, where she basically implied that the racial tension is good for business and invoking Magic and Bird. It's not good for business. It's never good for business. And sort of sidestep the question about racism and misogyny and hate that the players are receiving online, basically saying, like, don't go on social media, or, it's sort of not real.
Engelbert later issued an apology, stating, "I should have stated directly and unequivocally that hate speech is harmful." While it was an attempt to right the wrong, it fell flat for many players and fans who expected more decisive action. The apology highlighted the widening gap between the league's leadership and its core responsibilities: player protection and integrity. This backlash didn't come out of nowhere. Analysts noted that Engelbert's leadership style often prioritized marketable stories over substantial policies, a stance that has begun to erode trust. By focusing publicly on rivalries, she drew attention to the lack of tangible measures addressing critical issues like player safety and respect, leaving the impression that profits mattered more than principles. In fact, this is what she had to say recently when asked about the referee problem.
Obviously, not every, they're humans, looking at technology. Basketball is a little more complex than tennis, for instance, around technology of officiating. So we're looking at a variety of different dimensions.
The stakes for the WNBA couldn't be higher. With a player like Caitlin Clark elevating viewership and energizing the fan base, Engelbert's approach risks undermining these gains. Fans and players alike wonder if this leadership approach is sustainable. Is focusing on rivalries a distraction from addressing what truly matters? And how did these decisions affect one of the WNBA's most pivotal players? If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action.
Coming out of college and going into the WNBA, we as WNBA players were having basketball conversations, and everybody just took it to another place where we were attacking them as people. And that's, again, where that petty and jealousy lives.
Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe's podcast episode, A Touch More, pulled no punches when discussing the leadership within the WNBA. Bird, revered as one of the greatest to ever play the game, and Rapinoe, a staunch advocate for equality and social justice, addressed the alarming disconnect between league officials and players' realities. Bird highlighted that Engelbert's comments on CNBC about the benefit of rivalries missed the point entirely. The focus, Bird argued, should have been on protecting the players and fans from toxic, racially motivated attacks. She shared that the environment had become so hostile that players were beginning to feel unsafe, both online and at games, and that fans were starting to be generalized for things they were not.
There is one thing I want to reset, that we want to reset, and it's the language being used around fans. Fever fans, Caitlin fans, new fans. That actually has to go. That has to go. I understand why at times it's been used. It's kind of just when you're in an interview and you get asked a question, it's kind of easy to go, oh, the Fever fan base.
Yeah, what do you mean by that? That has to go.
Oh, these new fans. It has to go because it's not the Fever fans. It's not Caitlin fans.
Rapinoe supported this by saying, the WNBA and league office failed to shield players from the negative side of the sport's sudden rise in popularity. This critique pointed to a deeper issue, that leadership's priorities might be misaligned, focusing more on public relations than meaningful action. The podcast also revealed that some leadership decisions amplified the divisions between fans. Bird was particularly concerned with how these narratives, fueled by unchecked commentary and rivalries, spilled into real-world behavior. The commentary on the podcast wasn't limited to highlighting problems. Bird and Rapinoe called for proactive steps to address them. They urged the league to reassess its priorities, arguing that marketing alone wasn't enough.
From the WNBA's perspective, the WNBA and the league office and Kathy's role specifically is basically to protect and shepherd the league, both from a business perspective, from a player welfare perspective, from a health and safety perspective, and from a growth and investment perspective. And this is where I feel like she's failed.
As Bird and Rapinoe dissected these leadership failures, one thing became clear. The players were being asked to shoulder an unsustainable burden. Not only were they expected to perform at elite levels, but they were also left to defend themselves against online and in-person vitriol, all while trying to grow the game. This reality, Bird suggested, was eroding trust within the WNBA community. The question now is whether the league will heed these calls for change or continue down a path that could jeopardize its credibility and growth.
I did not come out of college with the same level of popularity, scrutiny, all of it. Nobody has. Caitlin is one of one. There's zero doubt about that.
Caitlin Clark's debut season wasn't just impressive. It was historic. From record-breaking performances to game-winning shots, she brought an electrifying presence that drew in new audiences and revitalized longtime fans. Her impact was so significant that analysts dubbed it the Caitlin Clark effect. Ticket sales, TV ratings, and merchandise revenue all surged. Yet the league's response was puzzlingly subdued.
Caitlin continuing to impress and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple of years. Yeah. It's just going to be a constant record break.
The WNBA leadership's failure to fully embrace Clark's success underscored deeper issues within the league. Instead of using her season as a springboard to engage with new fans and solidify its core base, leadership remained hesitant. Take, for example, the muted acknowledgement of Clark's accolades. The Rookie of the Year award, which should have been a marquee moment for the league, was handled with a level of restraint that baffled both supporters and analysts.
They decided that they were going to let her know she was Rookie of the Year with a phone call in Connecticut during a practice before a playoff game. You can't make this up.
This lack of recognition wasn't just an oversight, it was a signal. It showed fans that the league's leadership might not understand how to harness the power of its brightest stars. The implications were stark. If a player like Clark, who brought unprecedented excitement and viewership, wasn't celebrated to her full potential, What did that mean for the league's future?
Higher television ratings, higher attendance figures. Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't come courtesy of a league. It comes courtesy of the players that play in the league. And in her case, she was the most popular, which means she could have helped your bottom line, which means you should have seen that from day one and maximized it. But you didn't do it.
The stakes are high for the WNBA. Clark's breakout season was a golden opportunity not just for her, but for the entire league. Fans were eager to support her and by extension, the sport itself. Yet, by not stepping up, the leadership risked sending a message that could resonate far beyond this season. How does this missed opportunity shape the future for other stars in the league? While leadership missteps and marketing blunders have drawn criticism, the core issues of inconsistent officiating and player safety have stirred even deeper frustration among players and fans. Caitlin Clark's first season not only spotlighted her incredible skill, but also revealed the gaps in how the league ensures fairness and safety on the court. One viral moment that fans won't forget involved Clark receiving a technical foul for an interaction with the ring post, an incident that left many baffled by the league's rules and enforcement.
And Caitlin Clark gets hit with a technical.
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard. And he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball.
But is this rule consistently called across all players? Let's take a look at Diana Taurasi doing the exact same thing.
Carter nearly picks off the pass, and Diana Taurasi, they'll count the bucket. And Antoine coming up for DT.
How come there's no foul? This incident wasn't isolated. Throughout the season, players, including Clark, experienced refereeing inconsistencies that altered the momentum and outcomes of games. These discrepancies sent mixed signals to both players and fans, with calls varying widely, even within the same game. The inconsistency disrupted game flow and raised questions about the integrity of competition. Moreover, player safety has been a persistent issue that only gained more prominence with Clark's high-intensity style. The backlash was not limited to the players alone. Fans who tuned in for clean, competitive games found themselves frustrated by decisions that seemed arbitrary. This eroded trust and shifted attention from the excitement of the game to the drama of inconsistent officiating. If the WNBA couldn't promise a fair and safe environment for its top players, what did it mean for the league's credibility and long-term growth?
So now it's the responsibility of the players to not only go play the damn game and to be great and to give everything that you know it takes, mind, body, soul, to be the best player that you possibly can. Now it's on them to ensure their own health and safety, their own player wellness, their own safe workplace, whether that is online, in stadiums, or otherwise. And I don't think that that's fair.
Clark's standout season drew unprecedented attention, creating a unique opportunity for the WNBA to embed itself further into mainstream sports discussions. Yet, the visible misalignment between leadership's priorities and player advocacy raised doubts about whether the league could fully capitalize on this surge in popularity. If Engelbert and her team fail to pivot, the league risks not only losing the momentum created by stars like Clark, but also alienating the very community it seeks to engage. The stakes couldn't be higher. This moment is a test of whether the WNBA can reconcile its image as a progressive, player-first league with the realities of how it treats its athletes. Will the leadership address these challenges, or will these moments be remembered as missed opportunities?
It elevated television ratings, it elevated attendance, and it damn sure elevated franchise value. But now, something that y'all resisted talking about, opining about, acknowledging.
The conclusion will reflect on what these events mean for the future of the league and the critical steps it must take to sustain growth and credibility. The WNBA finds itself at a crucial juncture. Caitlin Clark's remarkable debut season brought an influx of attention that could propel the league to new heights. But leadership missteps and overlooked player safety threaten to undermine this momentum. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's focus on marketing and rivalry-driven narratives has faced backlash for appearing detached from the core values that fans and players hold dear: safety, fairness, and genuine support. Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe's call for a course correction serves as a reminder that leadership in sports must prioritize more than just optics. The league must align its public image with on-court realities and reinforce its commitment to the athletes who dedicate their lives to the game. Players like Clark are not just stars, they are symbols of what the WNBA could become if the right decisions are made. To move forward, The WNBA must implement consistent officiating standards, prioritize player safety, and back up progressive rhetoric with decisive action. This is not just about maintaining fan interest. It's about upholding the trust and credibility that are essential for long-term success. The lessons from this season, painful as they might be, can serve as a turning point. The stakes are high. If the league adapts, it could solidify its position as a leader in women's sports, fostering an environment where talent is celebrated and safety is paramount. If it fails to address these issues, the risk is clear: a gradual erosion of trust that could cost the WNBA its hard-earned gains. The future hinges on how well the leadership listens, learns, and leads from this moment onward. The WNBA now stands at a crossroads, with a choice that will shape not just its present but its legacy. Which path will it take? Only time will tell. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.